What's going on, YouTube? I'm at a demo ride and today I'm on a Lowrider ST.
In 2020, Harley Davidson reintroduced the infamous Lowrider S, and the model took off with instant success. Arguably one of the most popular styles from Harley Davidson, it featured West Coast styling but also packed a punch when it came to performance. The club-style Harleys with T-bars and club fairings was indeed alive and well again. But for those that wanted more versatility and touring capability with the Lowrider S, they would need to put in a little bit more work on the Lowrider S with the retro FXRT fairing and the saddlebags. It wouldn't be long until Harley would capitalize on this trend, and they released the Lowrider ST with the restyled ST fairing and clamshell bags with the 117 Milwaukee 8 motor. I have a 2020 Lowrider S, and I'll admit, even I consider trading in my Lowrider S for the ST. For just a little bit more money, you can get so much more bang for your buck that it's hard not to consider it. This bike has really taken off in popularity, and I've seen more and more of these bikes on the road as well as on social media. Is the Lowrider ST possibly the best motorcycle that Harley makes? Let's talk about it.
If you've been following my channel for a while, or if you haven't, I have a 2020 Lowrider S. Love the bike, but when they came out with this Lowrider ST, man, I just thought this was a fantastic looking bike. I love the fairing, I love the design, I love the clamshell bags, I love everything about this bike. And so today I just wanted to take it for a demo ride again. Took it for a demo ride last year. Really had a great time with it. Love the wind protection on the fairing and all that. So just some basic specs about this bike. You know, it comes with the 117 motor, which is fantastic. Definitely plenty of power, a lot of torque, a lot of torque. It's great. I can even feel the difference as soon as I jump onto this bike for my Lowrider S. Comes with mid controls here, fairly comfortable seat, 4-inch risers, and a digital gauge in the style of the Street Bob. Really the main attraction for this bike, I think, is this fairing. This fairing has been beautifully designed. When I first demoed it out, I was so surprised at how much wind it just cuts out. And then the bike still feels really light, really nimble. And so that's one of the main reasons why I think this bike has been so popular for Harley Davidson. This has been probably, arguably, one of the hottest bikes for Harley Davidson in the last couple of years. So we're gonna talk a little bit just about the ergonomics with the stock seat on this bike. I do feel like I'm sitting on top of the bike, and with these mid controls, the position that I'm in, it's slightly cramped. Slightly cramped. Of course, you can change all of that. You can change the seat, you can change the risers to make it more comfortable for you. I have 8-inch risers on my bike, and I have a Saddleman step-up seat. So yeah, you can adjust it, but just starting out, I do feel like I am sitting on top of the bike and I'm hunched forward just a tad bit. So some other features on this bike: it has inverted forks for better performance, dual disc brakes which feel really sharp. It has a really crisp bite to it, which I like. Paired with the 117, I think it's a really great performance machine. Clamshell bags, I think they look great, but you either fall into two camps. You either love them or hate them. I think most people tend to change them out to something different, Leather Pros. Something with a little bit more storage capacity, but it's great that they give you bags right from the get-go. But the main feature is this Milwaukee 117. If you don't think there's a difference between 117 versus 114, man, I encourage you to try out the 117 because the feel is just really different. It has a lot more torque, so it jumps out right from the get-go. I really do enjoy it. It also has the heavy breather right here. A lot of the things that are on this Lowrider ST is with performance and a little bit of light touring in mind. The other thing that's slightly different from the Lowrider ST, from the Lowrider S, is I believe the suspension is raised, and I can definitely feel that. It feels a little bit higher. You can dip a little bit further into the corners, and it's also just a more comfy ride. So cruising at this pace, 30 miles an hour, this is really quite comfortable, really enjoyable. You get a little bit of wind coming through on my arms, but really nothing on my helmet. Between 40 and 50, and no buffeting at all on my helmet. No wind coming through on my helmet at all, and it's just a really nice pocket of air. This fairing is just cutting through the air, and it's just making this ride feel really smooth. Like I mentioned before, the Lowrider ST has been one of the most popular bikes for Harley Davidson for quite some time, for the last 2 years. So I think the Lowrider ST is at the intersection of performance and touring, which is what a lot of people want these days. and it doesn't cost an arm or a leg relative to Harley prices. So yeah, I can see the appeal of this bike. And the added benefit of this Lowrider ST versus, you know, the baggers is that it's still, in relative to Harley terms, it's a lightweight cruiser. I believe it comes in at about like 650, maybe 700 pounds or so, versus an 850 pound frame. So a lot more nimble, a lot more lighter weight, easier to throw around. You don't get that anxiety about dropping the bike as much as you might on a bagger. So a lot of things going for the Lowrider ST. So the other thing that I'm noticing right now, the Lowrider ST does a really great job of just kind of absorbing a lot of the imperfections on the road. It feels incredibly smooth. You know, I feel like I'm just kind of gliding on air a little bit here. Again, I just want to point out that this fairing is incredible. Even though it's a little bit smaller than the Road Glide, I think, or the Street Glide fairing, it just does such a fantastic job at giving me the right amount of air that I want, so I'm not getting really hot. But at the same time, you know, it does protect a lot of the wind. It does protect me from a lot of the wind. I think Harley just did a fantastic job on the design of this bike. So I think this is a testament to this bike, the Lowrider ST, but you know, even going 50 miles an hour, I don't feel like I'm going 50 miles an hour. I don't feel like I'm going that fast. I feel like I'm cruising at like 35. And I think that's just a testament to the Lowrider ST, just a really smooth bike. The suspension feels great. Fairing just blocks off so much of that wind that I don't even realize how fast I'm going. So this bike could get you into a lot of trouble in that sense. Yeah, if I was in the market for a new Harley, I think this would be probably, you know, my #1 target. The performance, in terms of the touring capability, I think it's got it all. Even though it seems really silly that I have the Lowrider S and that I want to trade it in for the ST, which is essentially the same bike but just with the fairing and bags, but I just think that's how great that the fairing is on this bike. I thought about maybe getting some aftermarket fairing, but I don't know if it'll be the same. And with the 117 engine, you know, I think this is just a really nice step up from the Lowrider S as well. I don't know if I need to tell you all, but if you're thinking about a Lowrider ST, I mean, stop thinking and just go buy the motorcycle. This is probably one of my favorite Harleys. It hits every check mark that you could want, at least for me, in my perspective. You know, it's a fairly nimble cruiser. It's got, you know, wind protection with this nice looking fairing. Looks wise, I think it's one of the best looking Harleys. It's got bags, you know, you can carry a few things, but you know, of course you can always modify that as well. So with a little bit of work, I think this bike can be an amazing performance machine that can, you know, cruise for long distances. I'm just really in love with the Lowrider ST. Well guys, I think that's gonna do it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this demo. Buy the Lowrider ST. It is, in my perspective, one of the best Harleys you can get for the money. All right guys, well, I'm gonna head out of here. Until next time, I'll see you all later. Peace.